All right, everybody, welcome back to Freight Waves Now. It is Monday, June 27th, and an important day in the Supreme Court. We've got John Kingston here to talk to us a little bit about what's going on with the fate of California's AB5 rule. So, John, thank you for joining us. Today is the last day that the Supreme Court has, and that's our top story of the day. Give us a little bit of background about what's going on with the AB5 case and where it currently sits.
Because it's been an exciting morning just in the last 10 minutes. So the Supreme Court just announced its orders on various cases that had been requested for review. And the case, the California Trucking Association versus Bonta being the California Attorney General, is not on the list, which is kind of shocking. So what that means is that it is still under consideration by the court for review. It means that the injunction that has kept AB5 out of trucking since the New Year's Day on 2000 remains in place. However, there is something that did happen this morning that is somewhat significant. There is a case involving C.H. Robinson that involves the same legal issue as AB5, which is can a state preempt the Federal Aviation Administration Authorization Act, the so-called F4A. And that was denied. The review of that was denied, which could signal that the court really didn't want to take up this F4A issue. But I think that that's kind of dwarfed by the fact that they still don't seem to know what they want to do with CTA versus Bonta. So I think the practical case, the practical resolution of this right now, unless I hear differently, is that we will see you in the fall. That it is still under consideration. I don't want to say under review because that sounds like certiorari has been accepted, which is not the case. It is still sort of under consideration for certiorari. I spoke briefly to Greg Fury of the Scopolitis law firm. He said it is possible that the Supreme Court will take it up at a July conference that they have. But if not, then a big conference in October will be the next one. And that means that AB5 continues to be on the sideline for the California trucking industry.
And John, when we're looking at this situation, what does either side of this case falling, what does it mean for the trucking industry, or more specifically within California?
Well, it means a couple of things. It means that business as usual can continue until, let's assume that for a second that July conference isn't going to occur, that business as usual can occur into October. And it gives a few more months for the industry to figure out what's going to happen if it loses. I got to think, Greg told me that the C.H. Robinson certiorari appeal was not really shocking, that they did not necessarily expect that one. That was a totally different set of issues involving liability. And they really didn't expect the Supreme Court to accept that one. This is a really different set of cases. So I don't know whether I'm, be making some phone calls today. I don't know whether the industry is going to be. I think they're certainly happy that this has been pushed aside again for several months. But I don't know if they're going to interpret anything in the C.H. Robinson decision as showing the way they might be thinking regarding the AB5 case.
So, John, we brought to the news last week, I believe, in our headlines, kind of some conversation about how the Biden administration has been fighting for a federal reclassification of independent contracting workers as well. Does that fight for reclassification under the Fair Labor Standards Act have anything to do with the AB5 decision at all, or is this purely going to be a difference between how independent contractors and workers are classified federally versus at the state level?
Yeah, it's a good question, Kaylee, and I actually spent a couple hours on the phone listening in on a conference at the Department of Labor, the Wage and Hour Division, held last Friday. The Wage and Hour Division has said it is going to. Remember, they had yanked the Trump administration rule. The Trump administration rule went into effect, or really was announced to go into effect, like 2 weeks before Donald Trump left office. They yanked that, and then a court said no, you couldn't yank it. So really, that Trump administration rule is in effect. So the Biden administration has said it is going to propose a new rule. And there was a call the other day, just an open forum. It was no back and forth. It was just people speaking. The representatives from the Wage and Hour Division did not say anything about what they're thinking. And the fear here is that the new rule defining independent contractors that the Biden administration might come up with will have the ABC test in it. And so there was a lot of talk about that, even though the Biden administration has not really said, we're going to put the ABC test in this new rule. So it's all really part of the same big issue regarding independent contractor status. As I think I've said to you before, when I first started covering this issue, I figured I'd stumble upon the one or two legal cases that had established precedent that everybody followed. Forget it, okay? This thing goes on and on and on, keeps lawyers very busy. So there's another call this week on the wage and hour division rulemaking that they're going to start, so I may be able to listen to that. But it's wild. But like I said, my heart's almost kind of racing because I've been waiting for this day for quite some time, and they pulled the rug out of me at least until July, maybe until October.
It feels like it was like this ton of buildup now to be like, man, now I got to wait just a little bit longer through the rest of the year. And so for these drivers.
Yeah, I just want to mention another bit of breaking news. It's not out yet, but as we know, the Energy Information Administration had massive technical problems last week. And so the weekly diesel number that serves as the basis for fuel surcharges was not released. They did accumulate it. I mean, they did aggregate the data. So they have the data. I expect to find out within an hour whether they're going to be able to publish today. And I think the big question is not necessarily whether they're going to publish, but are they going to be able to get the data today? Because you can't go back in time. Let's say the technology issues are settled Thursday. You can't go run the survey of what was the diesel price as of Monday because it's done. It's like, trying to find last night's thunderstorm. And so that's another bit of news that's coming out this morning on a very busy morning here.
I'm glad that you mentioned that, John, because we talked about your story as well with the technical issues from the DOE. And I wanted to talk about how they kind of establish fuel surcharges if you don't necessarily have that most up-to-date data. And then what type of impact does that have on, even on the smaller carriers who have to fight tooth and nail for every little bit of fuel, every cent matters, right? So, but how does that kind of impact the way that people are deciding fuel surcharges if they don't have the most up-to-date data?
Well, the DOE, the EIA has indicated that they have the data necessary to publish a price for last Monday. So they will put that out, and at that point, billing can go ahead on the fuel surcharge with that piece of data. Of course, it slows the process. As we know, cash flow is king in trucking. So if you slow the process to get paid, that's a problem because you can't really bill for any kind of trucking services for last week that include a fuel surcharge because you don't have a basis for the fuel surcharge. Unless maybe you bill it on the basis of the prior week and then maybe you go back and you'll square it up at the end when the actual number comes out. I'm more concerned about today. Do they have? I don't know when these technical problems develop, but I can tell you that the number was supposed to come out Tuesday rather than Monday because of the Juneteenth holiday. They did not indicate until the end of the day that they had a problem. So that kind of suggests that the problems developed Tuesday. So they were able to aggregate the data on Monday. Now I'm concerned that they won't be able to aggregate the data today. Even if they can't put it out, as long as they've got the numbers, they can eventually retroactively put out a diesel price for today. And then the billing can go ahead, however the companies want to handle it. I'm concerned that they might not have a number. That's to me the big issue here.
And John, if there is no number coming out, what are the implications for that?
Well, they're not good, but I really don't know.
Either way, this is not going to be good.
This is new ground here.
Yeah, definitely. And John, when we're looking at what's going on in the broader market, especially oil, what's been some of the latest things there that's been happening that you've been watching, or is it just kind of like the same old news here?
Well, nothing big happened last week. Actually, the price of ultra-low sulfur diesel on the CME Commodity Exchange rose 3 cents over the course of the week. Given the craziness that we've been going through, it was a relatively small increase. And kind of small movements over the course of the week. So there were some signs out there of some deflationary signs in commodities in general. I actually tweeted this morning, copper. Copper has always been known as Dr. Copper as a real good indicator of the strength of the economy. Copper is down significantly in the last month. Now that's not necessarily good because that could be the signs of a pending recession. And you really have to wonder whether there's a lot of headwind, whether there's a lot of wind at our back for higher oil prices right now if there are other broader commodities that are weakening. So last week was kind of quiet for the first time. A lot of stuff going on elsewhere, but the actual outright price of CME commodity price for ultra-low sulfur diesel, which is the building block for everything else, was up about 3 cents. Crude was down. So, there were some signs that for now, maybe we've kind of hit a plateau.
I'm slowly starting to anecdotally watch both gas prices and diesel prices in our area just like had to creep down like 2 cents by 2 cents every single day. But we're coming into that 4th of July holiday. 4th of July is a Monday. Will the holiday have any impact on retail prices, or can we expect that kind of slight, very, very slight softening to continue, do you think?
I don't know. I've never been big on the prices go up before the holiday thing. I mean, I just don't know that the data is there to back it up. I just think that mostly because of just broader macro trends that are running this thing. And I just find it hard to believe the price is going to go up because it's the 4th of July. I mean, the fact that it's the 4th of July has been known for like around 250 years. So, I don't really know that that's a big thing.
Well before we even started using gas and diesel to power our horse and buggies, right? All right, John, thank you for joining us today. Thank you for the work that you've been doing, keeping us updated on AB5. And I guess we'll just keep talking about it until they finally make a decision.
We will. So anyway, thank you.
All right.